very warm welcome to all our viewers and welcome to a new edition of Africa Today, our program that brings you all the latest news and events happening all around the Black Continent. My name is Angie Meher, and as usual we begin straight away with a look at the news making the headlines, where an Egyptian report, a research report published by Statista Global Business Cities has ranked Egypt's Cairo as the top business city in Africa. Earlier in March, Egypt's rank in the Global Soft Power Index by Brand Finance jumped 3 positions in 2 years, becoming number 31 amongst 120 states. We have more details in this report.
Egyptian officials said Cairo ranked as Africa's top business city at the Global Business Cities Index. A 2022 research report published by Statistica Global Business Cities has ranked Egypt's Cairo as the top business city in Africa. The index is based on a number of sub-indices, including the city's economic strength, business environment, society, meaning population development and the areas of education and standard of living, and the city's charisma, which is reflected in aspects such as tourism and culture. Earlier in March, Egypt's rank in the Global Soft Power Index by Brand Finance jumped 3 positions in 2 years, becoming number 31 amongst 120 states. Egypt also earned a soft power gold medal as it continues to be viewed as the country with the richest heritage worldwide, occupying the 12th position in the soft power medal table and overcoming competition from China and Italy in that realm. Countries such as France and Spain did not get a gold medal and ranked 14th and 15th respectively. However, this gold medal is the only medal Egypt was given, while France has 6 silver and bronze medals and Spain has 4. The UAE ranks 15th in 2022, Turkey 22nd, Saudi Arabia 24th and Qatar 26th. All these countries improved their ranking from the previous year, except for Saudi Arabia and Qatar, which maintained their positions.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by His Excellency Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, the former Assistant Foreign Minister. It's a very good afternoon to you, Mr. Ambassador. Good afternoon, Ambassador Gamal.
Yes, right.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Right. Mr. Ambassador, Egypt or Cairo has been ranked as Africa's top business city at the Global Business Cities Index. In your opinion, what marks Cairo in terms of being a business as well as an investment attraction?
It is a part of our economic success and economic reform. Also, we are lucky by sharing a geographical in the middle of everywhere.
Yes.
We are part of Africa in the middle of the Arab world, not far from Europe. Also, on the other side, we have signed several agreements in order to make our trade much more easier. We have an association agreement with the 27 European countries.
Yes.
We have a free trade area with all the Arab world, and now we have the largest free trade area of the world in Africa. So this means that if you invest in Egypt, you can export to more than 70 countries tax-free. This means that your market is 2,000 million inhabitants, not the 100 million as Egypt. Also, Egypt, as the largest economy in Africa, is the most diversified economy in the Arab world, and we share many things. It's an economy which depends on agriculture, on industry, services, Suez Canal, tourism, Egyptians living abroad. Many things are really supporting Egypt to occupy such a rank among many countries around us.
Absolutely. Mr. Ambassador, the index is also based on a number of sub-indices. These include, for example, as you said, the city's economic strength, as well as other aspects such as tourism and culture. How would you describe Cairo itself as a tourist attraction?
Cairo is one of the wonders of the world. It is a big country by itself, although it is a city, but 22 million inhabitants in Cairo, the old Cairo, the old Islamic Cairo, the old Arabic Cairo, the Pharaonic Cairo, and of course it's by itself sort of big consumer of many things. On the other hand, the soft power, which is the entertaining industry, the information services, many things are making Cairo very attractive place. I asked once an Arab investor, why would you prefer to come to Cairo? He said, Cairo and Egypt is not only an investment opportunity. It is to spend some nice time for my family. I can come here, rent a furnished apartment in Jamiat al-Dawla Arabiya Street.
Yes.
And I am quite sure that my family will enjoy living in Cairo.
Absolutely.
While I am going outside and coming back.
Absolutely.
So it's also the type of the people in Cairo and the big cities also. Don't neglect also the pharaonic Egypt in Luxor and Aswan. This is another sort of attraction.
Yes, absolutely. Mr. Ambassador, how do you see the African Continental Free Trade Zone that was recently finalized expecting to impact on the African economies in the short term before the long term?
We have a very good experience with what we call the COMESA, the common market of East and South Africa. It is a small story of success, 21 countries, and we increased our exports to this part of the world by 3 times. Our trade balance is in Egypt's favor. This applies also with the Arab world. So it is a good story of success. Now, during the presidency of Egypt and the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to the African Union, we decided to enlarge the COMESA and to connect it with the other 2 free trade areas. Now we have a larger full free trade area for the whole 51 countries of Africa. And this, I hope, will also create opportunities and more attraction for investment and trade.
Absolutely. Mr. Ambassador, how do you see the coronavirus pandemic as having impacted the business environment, not just in Egypt, but in the African continent as a whole?
It is a small disaster which is facing the whole world. Nobody will escape from it. But we were lucky relatively because the epidemic came in 2019 while we started our economic reform in November 2016, 3 years in advance. So when we were attacked with the epidemic, we were already ready to face it. We were standing on a very solid position. So of course we shall be affected, but thank God we shall still continue our growth in a positive figure. Very rare. Egypt is occupying a very rare position, while most of the countries of the world will grow negatively. And Egypt is a good case in order to exchange experience in such a good case of success.
Indeed. Mr. Ambassador, finally, sir, how would you list and rank Egypt's international trade partners?
As I said, really, we are lucky because we are part of the Arab world. And of course, it is not only a common market, but it's also a common culture, common language. We are exporting also our experience.
Yes.
11 million Egyptians are living abroad, giving their experience in the Americas, in Australia, in Europe, and mainly in the Arab world. And of course, this is another addition to our position. And I think Egypt is one of the most accepted faces all over the world. And if you look around in Cairo, you will realize immediately that Cairo is the most attractive city for foreign missions. We have the largest mission of America in the whole world. We have the largest Saudi mission. You can see it is the Saudi embassy in Giza. It's as big as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs itself. So I think we are in the middle of everything, and this by itself, you can market for it, and we are lucky by having this.
Absolutely. I'd like to thank you very, very much. Your
Thank you.
Excellency, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, the former Assistant Foreign Minister. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and your insight. And continuing this edition of Africa Today, we move to Southern Africa, where thousands of South African soldiers will help with the relief efforts in KwaZulu-Natal province, where more than 440 people have died in floods and mudslides, and dozens more are still missing. A week after torrential rains began, and South African National Defence Force said it had been instructed to activate 10,000 troops for tasks including mop-up work as well as transporting aid. We have more details in this report.
South African authorities said on Sunday that at least 443 people have now died due to the flooding and mudslides that followed heavy storms in the KwaZulu-Natal province. KwaZulu-Natal Premier Sihle Zikhalia said at a news conference Sunday that 63 residents are still unaccounted for, calling the disaster among the worst the province has ever seen. Foreign news agencies reported that South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has delayed an official visit to Saudi Arabia to focus on the natural disaster, noting that he plans to meet with cabinet members to assess the damages. The storms and flooding have left thousands of residents homeless, knocked out power and water services, and delayed operations at Durban, the country's busiest port. KwaZulu-Natal residents said they are still being terrified of the thought of more rain falling on the region, and said they are losing hope of finding relatives in the aftermath of the disaster. Africa's southeastern coast is expected to be hit hard by climate change, with more extreme storms and flooding expected in the decades ahead.
And finally, for our final report, Africa is experiencing its longest running decline in COVID-19 infections since the onset of the pandemic. Recorded weekly cases have fallen for the last 16 weeks, while deaths have dropped for the last 8 weeks. We have more details.
In Africa, COVID infections, largely due to the Omicron-driven fourth pandemic wave, have tanked from a peak of over 308,000 cases weekly at the start of the year to less than 20,000 in the week ending on the 10th of April 2022. Over the past week, around 18,000 cases and 239 deaths were recorded, a decline of 29% and 37% respectively compared with the week before. This low level of infection has not been seen since April 2020, in the early stages of the pandemic in Africa. Africa's previous longest decline in COVID-19 infections was between 1 August and 10 October 2021. Currently, no country is witnessing COVID-19 resurgence. World Health Organization (WHO) considers that a country is in resurgence when it records a 20% increase in cases in at least 2 consecutive weeks, and that the recorded week-on-week rise is 30% or higher than the highest weekly infection peak previously reached. Dr. Machidi Sumoti, WHO Regional Director for Africa, said, despite the decreasing infections, it is crucial that countries remain vigilant and maintain surveillance measures, including genomic surveillance to swiftly detect circulating COVID-19 variants, enhance testing, and scale up vaccination. With the cold season approaching in the southern hemisphere in June through August, there is a high risk of another wave of new infections, as she said. Africa's previous pandemic waves have often coincided with lower temperatures, when people mostly stay indoors and often in poorly ventilated spaces.
And with this final news item, we wrap up today's edition of Africa Today. You were in the company of myself, Angie Meher. Many thanks for joining us.